I'm sure you are enjoying the show. Every day, we hear statements where people show their concern about ill effects of technology on our personal relationships. However, omnipresence of technology was considered as an opportunity by our next speaker, who created Wysa, an AI empathetic coach for the emotional well-being of people. Today, Wysa has over 1 million users across 30 countries and recently won the NHS Impact Award as well. She has won the silver at Stevie Awards. She is the one who exemplified how thoughtful use of technology can impact human lives in a positive manner. Let me invite on stage our next speaker, Joe Aggarwal, with the talk, How to Believe in Yourself. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, everyone. This is not about me believing in myself and telling you how. This is actually going to be a talk about a time when I completely lost all belief in myself and how I found it again. So, generally, like many of you, I have self-doubt, but I'm sort of somebody who exemplifies think big. Comfort zone? What comfort zone? Like, I like pushing people out of their comfort zone. I exist out of the comfort zone. And I mean, I was somebody who 10 years ago quit Pearson, got my husband and partner, everybody should have a husband like him, to quit Goldman Sachs, and we both moved to the Middle East saying we're going to end terrorism by economically empowering young people in places like Yemen, Syria, Iraq. We worked in conflict for 6 years, and it wasn't actually risky enough for us. We thought, let's up the ante a little bit. We still have these UN-backed salaries and expat packages. We take business class flights. Oh, I miss those. But hey, let's up the ante a little bit. Let's see whether a group of people like us could build technology that could reach millions of people across the world and change their lives. So we moved back to India because the kind of savings we had would have lasted us a few months in New York and a lifetime in Bangalore. So here we are. And we said, okay, let's start our own startup. This is what's going to change the world tomorrow. We wanted to help people know how somebody else was. We wanted to build a more connected world. We created initially a hardware product. Then we realized that phones have all the digital technology that a hardware product would have. So we pivoted away from that. We created a software product that you would know, you could Google how somebody else was. We raised money. And somewhere in that journey of raising money, something happened. Up until now, I had this self-belief, which I would, if I really look back, it's this. Between God, my sheer doggedness, and a little creativity, something will work out. You know, that's sort of where I would say, I'll pray a little, I'll keep going, I'll think of new ideas, and something would work out. But in this startup journey, you raise money, and you raise money from people. We raised money when we were 44. And we had a whole life of credibility and career behind us, which meant that we raised money from people who believed in us more than the idea. And as they believed in us, we started getting away from the confidence that we had, which was, hey, we can fail, there's no problem. We'll just keep going, we want to solve a problem, to, we can't let these people down. There's these middle-class values that you have, which equity feels like debt, and you've taken money from someone for yourself, not for your company. So you have to pay it back, you have to do right by them. And the more that happened, the more I lost the self-belief. With every failure, I started to feel like an imposter. Suddenly, I was not okay with failure anymore. My relationship with failure had changed. It wasn't like, it'll happen, it'll work out, it's going to pass. It was, if I fail, I would start doing something, which is what a lot of us do without realizing why we're doing it. We set realistic goals. So I started lowering my goals. From saying I'm going to make a huge difference, at least let's be sustainable. From being sustainable, at least let's grow our Facebook ads. let's at least hire this iOS person. And with every lowering of the goal, what happens? You start judging yourself first for lowering your goal. And then, if you don't succeed there, you feel, hey, I can't even do this. Who was I? I was an imposter. I was aiming so high, I can't even do this. And as it goes down and down, I spiraled into depression. I had got down to a state where getting out of bed was a goal I was failing at. I was in deep depression. In that depression, every morning getting up with anxiety, every evening hoping that some bright light would come in, I would search online. I would look for, hey, can I find something? Because I didn't want the rest of the people in my startup to start losing faith. I didn't want my investors to start losing faith. I would every day feel, I should kill the company now and then say, but then I'll lose credibility with the investors. Or but I don't know if this product will succeed. I don't believe in it anymore. What do you do? In all of this, I began to learn something called cognitive restructuring. So looking at things a bit differently, taking your negative thoughts. And I was working on those, reading help books, self-help stuff online and working on those on myself. And somewhere in this failure, I began to say, maybe I'm destined to fail. Maybe I'm going to fail no matter what I do. And I said, okay, then what will I do? Ask this to yourself. What will you do if no matter what you do, you were guaranteed to fail? I'm going to pause for a moment while you think. Because none of the ideas that you're thinking are big enough. If you were guaranteed to fail, then why would you not risk everything? Why would you not do the most meaningful thing that is there for you? Why would you not aim for the moon? Because you're going to fail if you aim low anyway. If you aim to just have a decent job, you're going to fail. So why not aim to change the world? And the moment I said this to myself, the answer to me was very clear. And then I said, what if I was guaranteed to succeed? And you'll find that the answer to both of these questions is the same. What you would do if you were guaranteed to fail is generally the same thing that you would do if you were guaranteed to succeed. Then what is life but 50% chance of failure, 50% chance of success, but 100% chance of somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle, you'll have some failure, some success. And if you were going to do it if you failed, and you were going to do it if you succeeded, then why are you doing anything else? That changed my relationship with failure. So I began to say, okay, I'm now someone who can see what mental health is. And as I saw more and more of it in my research, I could realize that it is everywhere. 1 in 4 people in this room have suffered from a mental health issue. Look around you on your table, there's at least one person who has suffered from depression or anxiety or something even more strong. The world is on fire. In all of India, we have 5,000 therapists. 5,000 psychologists, social workers, therapists, anybody who can provide therapy for over 1 billion people. UK, with a tiny population, has 10 times our number. There's no fire brigade coming. I said, I'm going to put a fire extinguisher in every pocket. I had no AI experience. I had no psychology experience. But I had experience as somebody who had suffered depression. So I started working on this. And the thing is that when you start working on something like this, Ideas start flowing. But before I could start, I had to put all my demons to rest. So I had to ask my demons, what is the worst that can happen? And still there was that thought, all of these people who believed in us, in our startup, I'll lose their credibility, their trust. So I walked up to them, got meetings with each of them, and I said, look, this is it. We've got your money. This is what I want to do with it. I don't think what we started out doing works. Everybody wants to know how somebody else is. Nobody wants anybody else to know how they are. The tech works, the use case doesn't. However, mental health is something that we can work on. I've got these ideas. I can give you back your money, or we could stay. And they were amazing. They're called angels for a reason. So they came back and said, we believed in you. And if you believe in this, go do it. If you don't, then you're investing so much more than we ever did. Then don't do it. Comfortable that now I had no worries that even if I failed, there was not going to be a loss of credibility. I could move on and redefine what success was. I think there already, it's almost like post-traumatic stress. Like you've already failed in having belief in yourself once so drastically that you don't want to even aim to have the kind of self-belief linked to success. So I said, okay, success is learning. I want to solve this problem. If I fail, that's learning. If I succeed, that's learning. But if I'm on this journey where I'm trying to figure out how to solve mental health at scale for 1 billion people, it's okay to fail. Even if I fail, this is what I want to do. And that allowed me to pursue ideas which were really strange. I mean, this was me writing a chatbot for cognitive behavioral therapy, which I was Googling, and getting open source code with one of my tech team and saying, okay, maybe this AI can be tweaked like this, and creating our first little prototype. This was us taking how somebody else is technology and training it to do mental health, depression detection. We started working through this journey, and we got our first big success, which was we were able to detect depression based on how a person's phone moved around to a 90% accuracy. We were thrilled. For a long time, our startup had been floundering. Now we had something that we could say, okay, we've done this. We could publish a paper, we could get insurance companies were all over us. And then we went back 3 months later and we asked what had happened. We found out that 1 out of the 30 people we had detected with depression had taken therapy. We'd done this in semi-rural India because we really wanted to scale this technology. 1 person had taken therapy. And we realized that the rest of them were being prescribed Valium by their doctor. And that's not what we had set out to do. Success equals learning. Success doesn't equal validation from other people. We killed that product. And it didn't cost us any sense of failure. It didn't make us cost us our sense of self-belief. We moved on, and what we had found was that these same people who were not willing to see a therapist were very comfortable talking to this little chatbot that we had done on the side. And their depression scores were coming down. So, what? So we went to India's, at least, and one of the world's biggest names in mental health, Dr. Vikram Patel, who's at Harvard, and said, what's happening? And he said, yeah, talking about your emotional well-being improves your emotional well-being. Checking in on your depression is therapy. I said, it can't be that simple. But we started doubling down and working on it. We didn't quite say that we had succeeded, but we were on this journey. The day we know the product had worked was when we got this mail. This was a year after I had come out of depression and started working on this. We got this mail. A 13-year-old girl wrote to us saying, you're helping me hold on to myself. She came from the US. She had found us on the App Store. At that time, we had about 30,000 users, still not a huge number. And we were like, this is a person who's not able to get help from her family, from her friends, and talking to a bot is helping her hold on to herself. We then decided to shut every other idea we had, double down on this and say, we're going to make this right. We still hold her as the person that we built this for. If we, within everything that we do, if you ask any of us, who are we going to do this for? What would we do if we knew we would still fail? Is we try to save her. And we try to get to those adolescents who are struggling without anybody to talk to. Since then, 33 other people have written to us like this, but over 1 million have used it. Somewhere along, even 3 months in, we had NHS starting to use it. And for a year, they had been using it before we met them. And they told us that, yes, this is the only thing that works. We have people on a 12-month wait list, a 14-month wait list that we don't have therapists for in the UK, who have 10 times, by the way, the number of therapists that India have per person. Not even per person, total. They have such huge wait lists, and they used to give them Wysa, and a third of them wouldn't come back. They would say, this is fine, this is all we needed. When they came back and told us, oh, we've been using you, then we said, we've actually created something. What is this? But let's keep trying to solve the problem. We've not reached 1 billion people yet. We need to figure out whether this works in Hindi. We have to figure out whether we can do this in another language, in voice. What about people who are illiterate? Can we work with NGOs? Can we make enough money to sustain ourselves? All of these questions come up. But whenever, even now, self-doubt happens, there's a big failure. Every time we have a round of funding, it messes with your head. And we have to remind ourselves that success and failure will both be guaranteed in this journey. You have to make sure that your journey is worth it. And if it is worth it, you'll never be thinking small. It will always be thinking big. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Can we have you back on the stage, please? Thank you, Joe, for telling us that when you dream big, as much as you will encounter success, failure is also part of it, and how to take it in strides. Thank you so much for sharing that message. May I request Supriya to present a token of thanks to Joe.